It is time for my annual Chicago Bears bold predictions. I got 5 of them here on today's show. My name is Harrison Graham. This is how it went last year. And 1 out of 5 when it's bold, okay. I mean, you'd like to hit at least 2. Not only did they not win a playoff game, they didn't make the playoffs. Austin Booker, had he been healthy starting week 1 this year, I actually wouldn't have minded running that one back. But being on IR, not going to predict 8 sacks. Bears lead NFL in takeaways. Remember, at the end of 2023, they had a ton of those. So I was like, okay, full season with Montez Sweat. That didn't work out. Caleb, 4,000 all-purpose, but not passing. The Bears did split with the Packers, and on the surface, that's not crazy bold, but when you haven't beat them in 7 years, it's at least somewhat notable. So I did hit that one. Producer Cullen, I reacted to your bold predictions that you did in about mid-July when it comes to the Bears this year. Before we get to mine, if you want to revisit these, does anything change here? Is this still how you're feeling across the board?
So, by the way, it should have been twice. Thanks, Matt Eberflus, for not for the sleep. They should have swept him last year. Look, these are my predictions. Caleb Williams breaks out. What does that mean? I think he clearly solidifies himself as a franchise quarterback. He is the guy moving forward. I think he's going to have some combination of either 4,000 yards and potentially also 30 touchdowns. Kyler Gordon, I think, leads the team's interceptions. Rome Odunze becomes wide receiver 1. Statistic-wise, he either leads in catches or yards over DJ Moore, but I think, it'll be obvious. We'll see it. Poles makes a splash trade at the deadline, and the Bears sweep the Packers. Those are my predictions.
Are you sticking with that?
We don't change around here.
Okay.
10 toes down, as people say.
All right, I like it.
Bears sweep the Packers.
All right, there you have it. I'm going to get into my bold predictions coming up, but I want to hear from you. What is your top Bears bold prediction for this year? Drop them down in the comment section. We'll be reading them. I want to hear from you. All right, bold prediction number 1. DeAndre Swift has over 1,500 total yards offensively, rushing and receiving combined. He wasn't that far away last year. Now, I don't think he'll have 253 carries. I think that'll probably come down a little bit, but I do think he'll be more efficient, average 3.8 yards per carry, better offensive line, better scheme. They've really emphasized him taking the in-between the tackles yardage if that's what the play calls for. We know he can catch the ball. That's always been a strength of his game. So I think he does rush for over 1,000. I don't know exactly how much, but between that and receiving, I think he gets over 1,500 all-purpose yards. I think he'll be more efficient, and I think he'll be more explosive. Obviously, we saw a lot of explosive plays last year. I think you'll see just as many, but also the regular plays. I don't think you're going to see as many of the negative plays that we saw last year from Swift. That's been a big emphasis from Eric Bieniemy and obviously Ben Johnson as well. So 1,500 all-purpose offensively for DeAndre Swift. I mentioned it on another video. This was a prediction last year, obviously, as well. I really, truly believe it. I think the curse ends. I think Caleb Williams will throw for 4,000 or more passing yards. It's time. The team's too talented. The coach is too good at what he does. Now, obviously, this is health dependent. If he misses 4 games, that's a different deal. But assuming he plays, I'll say at least 16 games, maybe misses 1 game or something, I think he gets there. Last year, despite a chaotic year, there was still a point in the middle of the year where it's like he's not that far off pace to potentially get there. He threw for over 3,500, had over 4,000 all-purpose. I just think it's going to happen because the completion percentage will go up. He'll be more efficient. Ben Johnson will just scheme more easy completions for him. And he's just a year older now. He's going to be, even though he's learning a new offense, like he's played in this league for a year now. He's just going to make better plays at times. So I think it happens. I think he gets there. I'm not saying he's going to throw for 4,700 yards. I think he throws for like 4,100, and he tops that barrier this year. Better weapons, better offensive line, better coaching. A year older, Caleb Williams hits the 4,000-yard mark finally for a Bears quarterback. Will Caleb Williams throw for 4,000 plus? Is this the year it happens? Type Y for yes, type in for no. I really, really think it happens. All right, this player will lead the Bears in sacks. If you're wondering who that player is, I'm going to tell you after I tell you about today's sponsor. That is the Hall of Fame app. Today's show is sponsored by the Hall of Fame app. Football is back, and I don't know about you, but there is nothing worse than barely losing out on a multi-team parlay. It happened to me a few weeks back in week 0 of the college football season, but I teamed back up with HOF, and I had a much better week in week 1 of the college season, hopefully carrying that over to this weekend. Smart bettors rely on data, and the HOF app hands you powerful analytics at your fingertips to tilt the odds in your favor. HOF is your go-to for building smarter parlays. No more missing by one leg, as HOF gives you all the probabilities and insights you need to succeed. The HOF app was created by Ivy League sports geeks to let everyday sports fans be smarter. With a 4.9 rating in the App Store on over 7,000 reviews, it's safe to say the 1 million total users and counting are benefiting from the Hall of Fame app. For a limited time only, our listeners not only get a 7-day free trial, which is awesome, but they also get 50% off their first month when you use code CHAT at checkout. Just download the HOF app on iOS or Android, enter code CHAT, C-H-A-T, and you are all set. Link to the App Store to download the app is in the comments and description of this video. All right. I'd say this is pretty bold. I got Gervon Dexter leading the Bears in sacks. I don't know what that number is exactly. And part of this bold prediction is I just don't love the overall outlook on the pass rush. So you might need one of those interior guys to do it. I don't expect Grady Jarrett to play, like 90% of the snaps or anything. So I don't think he's the guy to put up those type of sack numbers. But I think Gervon Dexter, who's been ascending since he got here, has a chance to, push for 8 to 10 sacks. I think that could happen. He had 2.5 as a rookie, 5 last year. I think this scheme fits him better this year. Just on that progression, okay, 7.5. Can he hit 8? Can he hit 9? Would that lead the team? I think it's possible. Ideally, it's Montez Sweat because he's making $24 million per year, but I don't know what to expect out of Montez Sweat. I think he'll be better than last year, but is he going to be what he was 2 years ago with 12.5 sacks? I would probably bet against that. I like Dexter's fit in this scheme. If you told me he had 8, 9, 10 sacks, I think that's on the table, and it would be a huge boost for this team. So Gervon Dexter leads the Bears in sacks in 2025. Subscribe to the channel if you are a die-hard Bears fan. This is the place for you. Daily content, multiple videos per day. We go live 3 times per week, every Monday, Thursday, and game day. So you're not going to want to miss out. We might even go live Tuesday this week because we like doing the day after the game. So be on the lookout for that. We got you guys covered. Subscribe right now. Okay, a not-so-good bold prediction. I think 3 players start at left tackle over the course of 17 games. Number 1, Braxton Jones won this job. Listen, if he plays like he has before and stays healthy, then okay, he's probably your 17-game starter. But A, he is coming off a significant ankle injury. Does that hold up? And B, while he's gotten a little bit better throughout the course of the preseason, I still don't think we've seen the best version of himself from previous years, which already wasn't a great player, right? It was an above-average left tackle, but I would say for most of the preseason, he played below average. That last preseason game, I think he was probably right around average, so you're hoping that continues to ascend. But I think that situation's fluid. You got the early bye week, so if it's a little choppy the first month, would Ben Johnson make a switch after the week 5 bye and go to a Theo Benedict or possibly an Ozzie Trapillo? If there's an injury, could a third guy get in there? The other guy of Trapillo or Benedict, who knows, Karan Amagaji perhaps, maybe even Joe Thuney if they had to go the nuclear option. I just feel like this is going to be a pretty fluid situation. Now, the good news is, assuming they don't go Joe Thuney at left tackle, the fact that he's playing left guard, I don't expect it to just be abysmal because Thuney should be able to help out whoever the left tackle is. Remember those reps where Braxton Jones is getting beat inside in the preseason? Sure, even if Thuney has to block another guy, he's probably going to be able to visually recognize that, and you might be able to at least get a punch on that guy, a little chip that should help it prevent from being a complete free rusher. But yeah, I just think with Braxton not looking completely like himself, with him coming off the injury, I would expect some fluidity there over the course of the season. And then this is an interesting one, but I do think there's a good chance this happens. I don't think it's both, and I'm not saying it's either, but I am predicting it. One of DJ Moore or Cole Kmet will be on a different team next year. One of these guys will be gone in 2026. That is a prediction I have. Part of that is just bodies, right? You drafted Luther Burden, which you probably didn't expect going into the draft. You drafted Colston Loveland, which maybe you weren't expecting that, but if he looks good, he's your tight end one moving forward. I think that's safe to say. And you have areas you need to improve on your roster elsewhere. And moving on from one or both of these guys frees up some cash. If you trade DJ Moore, you free up $16.5 million. Like that's one good starter or multiple good role players. Cole Kmet, $8.5 million. Now, if I had to guess out of these two from a money standpoint, like Cole's a Chicago guy. Could you convince him to take a minor pay cut and just stick around and be your tight end too for this team moving forward? That's certainly possible. But I just think every year you're balancing your resources. You might be pretty heavy at receiver, and if Colson Loveland at tight end, you could have a lesser tight end too if Loveland is the real deal. And look, how about this scenario at receiver? Zacchaeus has a very good year. Luther shows enough where he's ready to be that second guy. If Rome emerges and becomes your one, could you re-sign Zacchaeus for $5, $6, $8 million? You trade DJ. That's kind of a net clearance of $10 million. Like, okay, you go with Rome, Luther, and Zacchaeus moving forward. Again, I'm not rooting for any of this stuff. That's how these teams work. Like, you always have to allocate your resources in different areas. So, and what areas are those that you're going to need moving forward? You're going to have to get another good edge rusher at some point, whether it's in the draft or free agency. Left tackle, there's a real chance you don't have your long-term answer on this roster. Safety, all four of your safeties are free agents. Linebacker, you could be moving on from Tremaine Edmonds after this year. So, there's different position groups, running back, that you might have to allocate resources to. And if you have four really good receivers you feel good about, okay, if you trade DJ Moore, get a second-round pick, and clear out $16 million, I'm not rooting for it to happen, but I could see that scenario playing out. I want to hear from you. Who do you think is more likely to be traded next offseason? Type DJ for DJ Moore, CK for Cole Kmet. Like both. Would love them to be here long term, but I think those are two guys to keep an eye on as potential exits next offseason. That's going to do it for Chicago Bears Now. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Again, drop your bold predictions down in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe and bear down.